Depending on where you are in your watch journey, things can certainly become stale when thinking about what attracts us to a timepiece. You may have purchased a dive watch or two, a chronograph, a field watch, but at some point some of us start to look for something else, something a bit more unique. Hi, I'm Ricardo Hawkes, and today we're looking at affordable watches with big personalities. Okay, so first on this list we have a Chinese watch with a genuine porcelain dial. The Halcyon Journey is one of very few watches that feature porcelain in its construction, and there's a good reason for this. So porcelain is extremely complex to work on, especially when it comes to creating a consistently flat dial for something like a watch. Porcelain is created by heating materials such as clay and quartz at extremely high temperatures inside a kiln. This creates a unique glossy finish that comes from airtight bubbles beneath its transparent glaze. Due to this glazed surface, porcelain dials cannot be stamped like metal or polished like stone or wood. They must be shaped solely through firing. Halcyon aim for a maximum deviation of no more than 0.02 millimeters between the highest and lowest points when creating this dial. And this results in a very high rejection rate. It's estimated around 90% of the dials don't actually make the final cut. The Halcyon Journey is a 40mm dress watch that features a Miyota automatic movement, blued finish hands, and a Suzhou numeral dial. Suzhou is an ancient Chinese counting system which creates a clean yet powerful aesthetic. So what's the price for all this beauty? Well, £540 or $700, which is really quite fantastic. Next up is a watch that all you space lovers out there will be drooling over. The Zurich NASA TRAPPIST-1 is a fun take on a space-themed watch. Named after the recently discovered TRAPPIST system, which by the way is a red dwarf star with 7 planets orbiting around it, much like our own solar system. This watch features quirky and bold aesthetics, which makes it very collectible. The constellation-like hands sweep across the dial, similar to comets streaking across the night sky. The inner luminous planet represents the hours, while the outer luminous planet shows the minutes, all while orbiting the central axis. What's perhaps even cooler is the use of the tritium tubes, which is a radioactive material that will continuously glow for decades. But don't worry, it's not going to harm you unless you eat it. The large cupola grille floating over the dial provides a window into the depths of space and time. The Zurich TRAPPIST-1 is certainly a unique looking watch, and definitely what I would call a conversation piece. The brand also produced many fun variants of this watch if you are on the lookout for some funky colours. Currently, the TRAPPIST-1 will cost you £300 or $399. Not bad for a bit of space exploration. If you're into retro vibes and a caffeine-fueled aesthetic, the Brew Metric Retro Dial might just be your next unique obsession. Can we just take a moment to look at this watch? It's absolutely crazy. The 36mm stainless steel timepiece features an asymmetrical dial housed within a utilitarian retro design. But it isn't all just mindless colours thrown into a pile. There is meaning here. This watch features a mecha quartz movement which allows it to run as a chronograph watch. And aside from having a standard chronograph timer, the yellow chapter ring indicates the perfect timing required to pull an espresso shot. You may be thinking, why do I need this? And that's a very good question. And I don't think there's an answer to it unless you are a barista. But that's exactly why I love this watch. And Brew as a brand are pushing into unconventional concepts, which is really refreshing. You know, it feels like Brew are one of the only brands not copying anybody. At £360 or $475, the Brew Metric is a solid deal for anyone looking to dip their toes into quirky indie watch territory without selling their kidney. Just don't take it swimming, as it's only water resistant to 50 meters. Now, the world of watches can sometimes feel a bit intense, and everyone can seem to have opinions on what's worthy and what's not. For newcomers, diving into this hobby can feel overwhelming, but every now and then a watch or even a whole brand comes along and offers everyone a breath of fresh air. Something that reminds us not to take everything so seriously and to simply enjoy the art and fun of collecting. And that's exactly what Mr. Jones Watches from England brings to the table. This is the Beam Me Up Mechanical, a 40mm stainless steel watch with a Swiss Solita SW200 movement inside. On the dial is a visitor from outer space who comes across a mischievous piglet in the field who runs in an endless loop. You're probably wondering, how the hell do I tell the time? Well, the beam emitted by the flying saucer marks the minutes, and the position of the pig on the dial marks the hours. Simple. Mr. Jones Watches also produces a whole host of other fun dials and designs. The Beam Me Up will cost you £595 or $785, which some may say isn't a lot for a piece of watchmaking that has all your friends laughing and asking where they can get their own. So for this next watch, we are still in the UK with the Studio Underdog Watermelon. This watch started life as a Kickstarter campaign, which sometimes doesn't always fill you with a lot of hope. Fortunately, Studio Underdog have come a long way since its inception in 2021. And now the brand produce some really eye-catching designs that certainly don't fit the norm. Despite looking like a watermelon, this chronograph watch packs a whole lot of features, including double-domed sapphire crystal, Italian leather for the strap, and a see-through caseback displaying a beautifully finished chronograph movement produced by Seagull. The dial features bright pink and neon green, and the center of the dial fades to a slightly darker tone at the edges. The unique seed-shaped indices really finish off the fun summer aesthetic, and if your collection has been lacking something fun and quirky, this may be the watch for you. I just want to remind you guys that Studio Underdog has only been in the game for 4 years. This is as fresh as micro brands come, and I feel really good about the future of this company. The Studio Underdog Watermelon will cost you £550 or $730, which again is very reasonable for something so unique. Okay guys, so that's it for this video. Some of the watches we've seen today, some may say, aren't to be taken too seriously. But if anything, these watches are to be taken more seriously than the everyday stuff that we've become more accustomed to. Constantly pushing the boundaries on what makes a watch is what keeps this hobby exciting and fresh. Let me know in the comments if you liked any of these watches or if you own any of these watches, and I will see you next time.